I'm in a stormy Bali this morning. I'm in a bit of a stormy mood as well because I fought through rain to get here where I am right now. I'm in Padang Bai. I'm on the ferry heading back to Lombok, which I haven't been to now for a couple of months. And I'm not sure what we're going to get up to over there, but we're planning 5 nights. And the weather has just turned really, really sour here in Bali. You can see the clouds pretty thick. And there was a big storm just coming up here in the dark. So I left home in the dark to get to this ferry, which is a 6:30 ferry apparently. So we'll see how we go on this. I've actually negotiated a little cabin for Susan and I. You can basically hire out a staff cabin here on these boats, and they'll usually offer them to you, and depending on how busy it is, you might get a good price, might be expensive. Well, this one I thought was a pretty good price. I negotiated for 2 people 150,000 on top of my ticket, which I thought was pretty good. So let's check out the cabin. It's not very safe, is it? No railing on the side of the boat there. That's weird, isn't it? This is a staff area, look at this. So there's staff cabins that they just rent out when they don't need them themselves. I think I'm this one here. I'll show you. Susan's in bed. This is the way it looks. You get these bunk beds, and that's about it really. There's a bit of a locker. But the good thing about it is it's a bit warmer in here because outside it's pretty cool at the moment. There's a strong breeze, we're wet, and then inside they've got the AC blowing hard. It's freezing. So it's just nice to have a private little area where it's a little bit warmer. Actually looking a little bit choppy out there at the moment. Like the swell looks pretty consistent coming in there, and I reckon if you're going on one of these fast boats across the Gilis, that could be pretty, I don't know about scary. Well, it could be scary. It could be pretty poor. These big boats should be all right, shouldn't it? Like, they don't sink that much. All right, got myself a coffee and some noodles because it's cold. I don't know what the real price is. Like, it's different every time I come here. So I paid 20,000 for the noodles, 10,000 for the coffee this time. I know that coffee can be, on the boat, can be 5,000 because I've negotiated that before, but I don't know, different every time. And I didn't, like, this is at the shop on the boat. They've got like a little section there where you can get snacks if you need them. But it's usually better to bring a bag full of snacks of your own from the local mini market. And then, yeah. But if you want something hot like this, you're gonna have to pay for it yourself. Getting on these boats between Bali and Lombok is actually pretty easy. You can book online in advance, although you don't really need to most of the time because it's usually not fully booked. But you can do that online, but it's a little bit complicated. There's a website called Ferry. If you're not really sure how to operate it, you can buy tickets when you get to the port, just before you get to the port. So not the port staff don't sell them to you. There's basically people who set up little stalls who get onto the website for you and charge a nominal fee. You can do that too, and that's fine. And you can bring a bike on, and you can bring a car on, or whatever you want. You just, if you're renting the vehicle though, you'll just need to check with the owner that you're allowed to do that first, because a lot of them are a little bit, like, they don't like their vehicles being taken off the island. But I know a lot of people do take their rental vehicles off the island without even telling the owner, and they can get away with it. But if you want to do the right thing, just tell them, oh look, I'm going to take it to Lombok. All right, let's try this packet coffee.
Mantap.
I mean, I don't mind it actually, like, because it's cold. I need something hot. This is quite mantap. When you bring your vehicle onto the ferry, like a bike, there's different lanes for the bikes and the trucks and the cars, and at this time of day when it's not very busy, you just roll straight up and straight onto the boat if the boat's already here, and just park it in a line with everyone else, and you put your 2 stands down. You know how there's this thing called like standard dua, the 2 stands, or the center stand. You put that down, it gives it a bit of stability, but it doesn't mean the bikes won't fall over. Like, I've seen the bikes fall over before and hit cars and things. So, but you've definitely got to put it on the 2 stands. I might have a little snooze, and I'll probably wake up when it's rough, so I'll see you then. Well, it's turned into a beautiful day, hasn't it? The boat's rocking and rolling. The seas actually don't look that bad, but they're certainly putting on a bit of a show. I was just asleep before, and I don't know, we must have hit a big wave, and then the whole boat shook one side, and the fan on the table flew off, and everything on the floor was shifting back and forth. The door flew open. It's not the end of the world, but it's not great either. It's just rocking and rolling a heap. I'm on the other side of the boat now, and the wind's really blowing from this direction in, and that's what sort of the direction of the waves. And you know, it's a fairly good day. It's just a bit of a stiff breeze now. But I just wonder if these boats in even just slightly bad weather could be really, really uncomfortable to be on. Because at the moment, like at times, I have to hang on to stuff because it's too unstable. Yeah, I can just see Lombok in the distance there. Lombok, the bottom of Lombok sort of comes out onto a peninsula. And that's the peninsula there. But it goes for such a long distance up that way, and then you know, the port would be over there somewhere, so we'll have to turn around like that into the waves at some point. I can only just see Nusa Penida there, and then Bali's a bit too far off in the distance in that direction to see it now. On these boats, there always seems to be some dude with a fishing line hanging out the back as well. Not sure what they'd catch, because this thing's moving at a fair pace, so you need a fast-moving fish. There is another one over there as well on the other side. I wonder if any of the motorbikes fell over when that big wave hit when I was asleep. It was pretty big. I'm not sure what the story is. It's actually not full down here, yeah? Only a few trucks. Sometimes when you get on these boats, it's hard to actually get to your bike because it's so full. It looks pretty safe to me. That guy's not using his two stands. It's a bit risky, that one, I reckon. And there's some chickens over there. Oh, small ones. They're carrying those small hatchlings. The temperature out here is so wonderful. It's not even slightly cold, but not warm either. It's just a perfect temperature with that breeze coming across the ocean. It's a great time of year to be in Indonesia, actually. So when I was living in Java, where I lived was Bandung, and the seasons there, I mean, they're the same, but it feels different because you don't really get the breeze there like you do here. So what happens is that during the dry season, when it's normally a little bit cooler, what you get is more sun, and the sun makes it hotter. You don't get any of that breeze to cool things down. And in the wet season, of course, there's no sun, it's always cloudy, and then you know, that sort of makes it feel a little bit cooler. And the humidity in a place like Bandung is never that bad anyway. But here in Bali and all the coastal areas of Indonesia, and I've really noticed it a lot more being in Bali, you find that that breeze takes off a huge amount of the heat, but also the humidity decreases an enormous amount as well. So the seasons really feel so different. Whereas in a place like Bandung, I didn't really feel it like that. Like, I would always go outside in the dry season, in the cool season, and feel that it was hotter than it would have been in the hot season. The other thing is, when the sun's shining in a place like Bandung and you don't have air conditioning, it heats up the house. Whereas in the wet season, when it's raining all the time, your house is kept cool by the rain and the fact that there's no sun. So it was always, for me, hotter in the dry season. So I didn't even really know it was that the rest of Indonesia really got that different from the seasons when it's, you know, when you're down to the coast. And really, to the point, Susan and all of her friends would have called the dry season the hot season in Bandung. That's just what they felt. It was a hotter time of year. See up there, the name of the boat, the KMP Sindu Duitama, an old Japanese ferry, which a lot of these in Indonesia are. And speaking to the crew on other journeys, they always say they love the Japanese ships because even though they're old, they're really built quite well. I'm not sure what's in there. Is that crickets or something? Maybe they're breeding crickets or something to feed to the birds. I'm not sure. One of the crew is obviously a big fan of birds. That's a beautiful bird, isn't it? Toilets on these vessels are usually ordinary. Like, you don't go to them unless you need to. I'm not sure what the public ones on this one are like. but upstairs there's squat toilets. If you can't do squat toilets and you travel around Indonesia, that becomes problematic pretty quickly, especially if you get a dodgy stomach or something like that. You just have to start using those squat toilets. This is what the boat looks like in the public sort of seating area. Well, there's a lot of space for how many passengers we've got. And there are a lot of people asleep. Now, if I'd got one of those seats, I'd be sleeping on that rather than getting a cabin. And that's the little canteen area where you can get a few snacks. Oh yeah, that's just running back and forth there. She's really tilting now, really tilting. All right, let's get back upstairs. So that journey takes about, well, it depends on how fast you're going on a particular day. Today it took about 5 hours and we left half an hour late. So it's probably 5.5 hours between the time that we were supposed to leave and the time that we arrived, which is pretty normal. It can be faster. I've definitely done it faster than that before, but it just depends on the conditions of the ocean and whether they get away on time and that sort of stuff. It's definitely one of those trips that you do when you're not in a rush. And I actually like it because it sort of puts you into a really relaxed mood. You're not sort of having to go on one of those fast boats where everyone's panicking and racing to get on the best seats and all that sort of stuff. It's a very cruisy sort of journey. And for me, it sets up the journey perfectly for the rest of Lombok. What we're going to do right now is ride to the port of Bangsal. Bangsal is where the boats go to Gili Air from. That's where we're going to go for a couple of nights, and then we're going to check out the rest of Lombok over the next week or so. I've said it before and I'll say it again, that the driving culture between the islands in Indonesia can be totally different. For example, here in Lombok, I think the roads are probably better on the main roads than in Bali, but the problem is that it's a little bit more like Java in terms of who has right of way and all of that sort of thing. So you've got to really have your eyes open because people are less likely to give way when you expect them to. And what that means is that unless you have a really nice straight stretch without any obstructions, you just have to take it easy. Coming back up to this air traffic control tower that we're coming past, well, maybe a few months ago. It's sort of the welcome post to the Kota Mataram, which is the capital of Lombok. It's probably more correct to say that Mataram is the capital of NTB or Nusa Tenggara Barat, which also includes Sumbawa. Hey, that's pretty cool. That there on the left is the park that I was dropped off at by the horse and cart in the middle of nowhere when I was in Mataram last time. So I've got a fair idea where I am now, but this is the road to Bangsal anyway, through Mataram. When I compare the two cities of Denpasar and Mataram, it's just so much easier to drive through Denpasar than Mataram, mainly because in Mataram it's a little bit more chaotic, not more traffic, there's actually less traffic, but people tend to sort of turn left from the right-hand lane, do U-turns unexpectedly, and it's all a bit crazy. It is pretty similar to a lot of other cities in Indonesia, to be honest, so I don't hate it.
but it just requires a lot more mental energy. You've got to really concentrate. Whereas in Denpasar, once you've been through there a few times, I mean, it's pretty easy. The trip over on the slow boat is actually something that's pretty easy to do as an independent traveller. You need a bit of time and a bit of patience. I think that makes it a better trip though. It makes it an enjoyable trip. So at both ends, both in the Bali end and the Lombok end, there are transport options like share taxis and so forth that aren't that expensive, and it can get you to where you want to go. For example, on the Lombok side, if you want to go down to Kuta Lombok, very easy from the port there. Or if you want to go to the Gilis, very easy once again. There are transport options aplenty, and I think it's just one of those things that's worth doing at least once in your life, because I think it gives you a real Indo experience. I'm dropping my bike off at Batman again. I actually used that bike storage service last time. I thought they were pretty good. I think they charged me 10,000 a day last time, and all the locals say that's too expensive because they can store their bike there for a month for 60,000. But still, it's pretty cheap though. There's heaps of different options around here for bike storage as well, like all up and down here. Bangsal has a really terrible reputation. Terrible reputation. I got ripped off last time by a guy who shortchanged me, and it's just not a nice place. Not a nice place. So it's pretty chaotic here, and there's lots of guys trying to sell you tickets, of course, and you just got to find the right area. Like, I know where it used to be, but I think it's changed the location of that public boat now. I'm not sure where the public boat even goes from. It used to go from over there, but I'm not even sure that's the case now. Or maybe they've got this thing here. Let's have a look. Oh, it still is over here. But it looks like there's no foreigners here. That's really odd. Everyone's crowded in a different area. Really weird. Okay, that's the fast boat schedule. That's interesting. Interesting. There's a slow boat supposed to go from here as well. There you go. Let's find out. Well, that is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. It's 18,000. I've been here before, and it's just really quiet right now. And I just can't believe how busy it is over there. I actually just spoke to a guy, a foreigner. I said, oh, are you waiting for the slow boat? He goes, well, I'm not sure. I'm waiting for a boat. I said, oh, okay, what boat? And he says, well, he bought a ticket from someone and he's just waiting for a boat to turn up. So that was weird. That was over there. So all those people don't really know this is the slow boat situation. And here, what they do, they wait until there are enough passengers to go. And if all those people come over here, those boats will be going like every 5 seconds. In people's defense though, I mean, it is a little bit chaotic there and you do get hassled, but I mean, if you've traveled a little bit independently anywhere, you know that these sort of transit points are always like that, where you're getting harassed and people giving you false information. If you want to get the public boat, come to here, and there's false signs and tourist information signs everywhere. You already know that if you travel independently. So it's just a little bit strange that, I don't know, it's only locals here. Just really, really odd. Not just locals. Well, I don't see any foreigners, but there will be a few foreigners getting on, I'd say. The really funny thing is that the guy I was speaking to about what boat he's catching and where the public boat is, he says, oh no, the public boat doesn't go for another 3 hours. It's like, so someone's lied to him. It goes when it's full, and I know, I've just asked the guy, they're already halfway through. They've registered half the number of passengers required for it to depart. So, you know, at most, I reckon we'll be waiting here another hour, I'd say. Maybe not though. He could be right. Now that's interesting. It looks like you can buy a ticket for the public boat to Gili Trawangan in this little area, which is to the left of the pier, and they're waiting for an extra 3 people for that to go. I just spoke to a local guy who was trying to sell me a ticket for the fast boat, and he seemed honest, and he said that I can get a ticket for 50,000 on the fast boat, and it's going to leave in 15 minutes, and he reckons I might need to wait an hour for the public slow boat. It's pretty chaotic down here, actually. Pretty chaotic. Some good little gerobak, hello, gerobak down here as well. Oh, Esteller Jawa. One of the things that happens in these sorts of places, what tends to happen, because you're getting shouted at and people are lying and you know there's scams going on all around you and you don't really know what you're doing, what often happens is your anxiety levels raise up until you just snap and you either go off at someone or you end up just paying someone just for them to just sort it out for you. So you either get ripped off or you snap. Done that plenty of times. I'd be the worst tour guide, so I've just found out what the exact information is, even though I've been here a few times before and bought tickets before. So the ticket counter there is just for the Gili Air public boat. Over the other side is the tickets for the Gili Trawangan public boat. For Gili Meno, I don't know. But I've actually gotten on and off the boat to and from Gili Trawangan from over there, so I should have known that already. And that's why I saw that boat calling for 3 more passengers to Gili Trawangan over that side. And that's why this is a little bit quiet, because, well, I guess all the foreigners are going to Gili Trawangan. They're not coming over here to Gili Air. Maybe. And the good thing about this here over at Bangsal is you can go and get a rental motorbike from one of these guys and then cruise around Lombok from here. So you could sort of do a one-way sort of trip from Bali across the Gilis, then come across here, get a motorbike and then cruise around Lombok for a while. Often with these people, they'll come and pick it up from wherever you want to drop it off. Often, not always, you have to negotiate it for a fee, and it might be expensive as well. It might cost you $50, but usually it's worth it rather than having to come back to the same place that you picked up the bike from. This is Gili Air. We only have to wait 15 minutes for that boat to depart in the end. It's easy. It's the way to go, I reckon. Got to find my accommodation. I don't think it's far from the port area, which is not my favourite part of the island, but it's actually got most of the eating options, so that's why I booked around here. This is the main area near the port, and it's the busiest part of the island, but nothing like Gili Trawangan's port area, which is just so busy and chaotic. Gili Air, not really like that. I think it's a little bit more spread out at Gili Air, although I must say that when I went to Gili Trawangan last time, I was pleasantly surprised to see the other side of the island and how quiet and peaceful it was, and I really enjoyed that part of the island as well. All right, so this is the place I'm in. Not bad, not bad. Got a bit of AC up there. I'll have a look at the bathroom situation. The thing is, at the moment, Gili Air is like really quite fully booked. That's nice outdoor shower area. Yeah, so the place is quite fully booked at the moment. So what that means is that you just take what you can get and the prices are a lot higher. So I think I'm paying about 600,000 a night for this place, which is still very good, I think, especially because it's a nice tidy place with a fair sized room. In the low season, I'm sure it's much cheaper. There's actually not much to this hotel at all. They've got a little kitchen area there if you want to cook your own food, which you wouldn't want to do here. Got a fridge and some dispenser water. And that's what the rooms look like from outside. I actually like it. The thing about Gili Air is there's a lot of accommodation that's a little bit older like this and a little bit, feels like you're in the village. In Gili Trawangan, they also have that, but that's usually away from the main port area. And then in Gili Meno, it's just everywhere. One thing I've been craving for, and so has Susan, has been that Il Barretto Italian cafe that I went to last time, that I've been to a few times now. Absolutely love it. So we're going down there, go and grab a coffee and what to eat. These days, Gili Air has been modernised a bit, so you've got proper roads now. Like, well, they're sort of proper, aren't they? But it still feels like the village. Still feels like the kampung. And it's actually what I love. I really like the balance here in Gili Air. I really love that. It's the same with Gili T. Gili Trawangan is great once you sort of a couple of kilometres away from the port. You get that nice balance between a bit of a rural feel, but then having stuff that you want, like this Il Barretto Italian cafe. Like, it's pretty good like that. It is paradise, you know. We're just walking around here. It is so chilled out. We're at the peak of high season and it's so relaxed and so quiet. I mean, there's people around and, you know, some of the businesses have got enough people in there to sort of keep them ticking over and make sure the food's fresh and that sort of thing. But it is just paradise. It's at a very good stage of development, I think. I mean, some people like to have less development where they're just living in a bamboo shack, and that's fine. And there's other people that may want like total modernity, much like a big city. But I think this, for me, is just perfect, especially because you can get the level that you want. If you want the wooden shack, they still exist. They're just not that pleasant, you know. But you can get a bit of AC as well these days, which is nice. And it's still very affordable. Just got to watch out for these horses, which sort of sneak up behind you with these big prongs that sort of come out. They've got a little solar farm here, which can deliver 160 kilowatts, which is not bad. Not bad on a sunny day. At night it's a bit rough, but yeah, that's pretty cool. They've got a little solar farm there. Only takes up a little bit of land. Here it is, Il Barretto. Not very popular, but I reckon it's the best place going anywhere. I love it. I think we're going to get one of those ones that looks really nice. And I think we might get one of these little focaccias over there as well. They look good too. Oh, we've got a few things. I actually got a coffee as well as this virgin mojito, and that only costs 35,000, I think. Something like that. Really cheap, like sort of cheaper than Bali prices in some ways. That's I think they call it a Guarella peanuts and creamer, and it's only 40,000, which I think is pretty good value. So I'm going to try that first and see how we go. Let's give it a go. The thing I like about that is that it's a little bit quirky with those peanuts in there, which is something I'm not really familiar with, like with a, I don't know, cinnamon scroll or something like that. And it's got that cream custard type stuff in there. I love it. All right, let's give this virgin mojito a go. I'm really thirsty after that boat trip. Oh, that is really real lemon in there, beautiful. Incidentally, it's much, much hotter here on the Gilis than it was either in Lembar when we got off that first ferry, the big ferry, or in Bali. It's actually quite warm here. Whereas Bali's been quite cool over the past past month at least. All right, look at that focaccia. Looks like it's a good one, looks oily. Oh, it's hot, they've heated it up. Oh, that's good. Oh, I love this place. Look at that coffee. That looks good, doesn't it? All right, let's give it a go.
Mantap.
I love it. Love that coffee. I've needed it. All I've had is that instant coffee earlier today on the boat, and I'm craving. Oh, so good. I absolutely love that place. I love being here. I love that I'm back on the ground here in Gili Air once again, back in Lombok. Such a beautiful place. And I reckon this place, not just this island, but these three islands, are totally underrated by almost everyone that comes to Bali that hasn't been here before. I reckon they're missing out. Totally underrated, love it. We've fought through storms today to get here to Gili Air. It's taken almost all day to get here, but that's what happens when you're coming on the slow boat and you take your own motorbike along the way. Could have done it faster if we wanted to, but you know, that's part of the journey for me, and also for Susan as well, is that just relax a bit. You don't need to rush. Thanks for coming along for the ride today, and thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sanur and the rest of Indonesia. I'll catch you next time, and sampai jumpa.